My name is Stig Torngaard. I'm partner at Platon. We are a leading Scandinavian information management consulting company specializing around business intelligence and big data. In our big data practice, we have experienced that business innovation through information is the essential area, not information technology. During my 15 minutes market talk, I will try to cut through the hype of big data and walk you through what is big data, and what can it be used for, but also how to get started and get organized around big data. Taking a step back from our daily tasks, we start to realize that many businesses see challenges in many areas. We see a pressure from the real-time enterprise, that signals coming in from various areas. We see exploding data volumes and also exploding data volumes coming in from multiple devices. We all carry a mobile phone in our pockets full of sensors that can gather useful information from our whereabouts and what we do. Globalization is a new paradigm in many industries. So we see competitions in areas that we haven't met before. And actually the exponential development in information, we are only able to leverage just a fraction of it. A good way to look at these data sources, these new data sources arriving, is trying to organize them from the traditional transactions we see here as the light blue, where we have the limited volume of data. We have limited complexity. We have a limited variety in the data. When we start to move out of the comfort zone of transactions in the enterprise, we start looking at information like weblogs and click streams and maybe even emails, what we generally call interactions. And going to the final step in the extreme volumes of data and very complicated data, we start looking at information like sensor information, likes on Facebook, and tweets. And if you look at like, you can say, what's so complicated about a like? The complicated thing about a like is that the single like is not important, but lots of likes and from whom they are liked is important. And to gather that information is critical. The same goes for tweets, small 140 characters that we need to make sentiment analysis on just to get to collect the essence out of it. Back in year 2001, Doug Laney of the Gartner Group defined big data as the 4 V's. Defined by the 4 V's in big data. The first one, the volume, here identified by an elephant. I've actually took the freedom to find an animal representing each of those 4 V's. Because many people think of big data only by the volume. If it's a great volume, it's big data, but they forget the other 3 V's in this equation. The velocity, the change of data, the change or the pace of the events in an organization is extremely fast these days compared just to a few years back. But also the variety. As I mentioned before, the transactions in our ERP systems are very easy and accessible. Where if we start looking at the tweets and the likes, as I mentioned earlier as well, they have a completely different format and works in another way. We need to embrace both the velocity and the variety and the volume in order to be successful around big data. The last V, the 4th V, was actually not defined by Doug Laney back in 2001, but by Forrester Group. They found that the variability or as some others call it, the virtual dimension of big data is important. The ability to have variable interpretations of the same truth. So if your organization changes behavior or changes the way you look at your business from over time, you need to have the variability or the virtual dimension into consideration. Hopefully the cheetah can help you remember the velocity dimension, and the peacock as the variety of formats, and finally the butterfly here coming from a small caterpillar when you look at it, and when you look back a minute later, it turned into a beautiful butterfly. So if nothing else from this market talk, please remember that big data is the 4 V's and more than just sheer volume. So if you've been working with BI for many years like I have, you will often ask yourself, when do I have a big data project and when do I have a business intelligence project? Well, it's not that easy to say. I try to illustrate it by this chart to say that, of course, if you have a huge amount of data, you are in a use case where you are considering big data territory. And the same goes if you go up the other axis and have a look at the high-speed data. But what we're seeing is that the variability puts the business intelligence projects under pressure. So what's considered a BI project today will have a push from the business intelligence market, from the big data market, and actually put the business intelligence under pressure. So what we're seeing is these two areas are sort of coming together. And actually putting all these Forrester definitions and Gardner definitions and so on in place. In Platon, we have defined big data as those 3 domains illustrated here. First, you could have a look at the big data technologies. There are so many big data technologies out there, and actually many of the vendors are creating the hype that we see today. So if you ask any IT vendor in the market if they have anything in big data, one sure thing is that the answer will be yes. We see technologies as appliances. If you go to SAP, you will have the HANA answer. If you go to Oracle or even Microsoft, you can buy fixed appliances in a box addressing just your big data requirement. But it's more than that. We have the elephant again, illustrated by the small yellow elephant here, the logo of Hadoop, the open source community. We see a tremendous amount of technology coming out from the open source community. And MapReduce is leading that. This is a domain I can talk for hours about, but really that's not the real importance here. The other area that's important, that is the advanced analytics. Think again, if you have lots of different information in very many formats at a very high pace, you can't make sense of the data without applying advanced analytics. Advanced analytics for us is a palette of different technologies, more that I have listed here, but it's important that we address advanced analytics in order to be successful in big data. So the last domain, which really should be the first domain, because this is the most important one, what we call the information use cases. That is the whole purpose of running the project. Why do we do big data? Why is it interesting for us? We want to change the business. We want to be better than our competitors. We want to make money. We want to cut costs. There are so many different aspects you can take, but it's very important that you are driven by an information use case. These generic types mentioned here, those 5, are defined last year by the McKinsey Group in a report around big data. So that could be worth having a look at, but I actually try to come up with some more generic use cases instead that I find much more interesting. You could take a look at the windmill, to target the equipment maintenance, for instance. That's from one of our customers, the Vestas company in Denmark, here in Denmark, producing wind turbines. They have redefined the way you provide service to the wind turbine owners. That's very important that they know what's going on in the wind turbine. They need to understand the content of the wind turbine and act upon that information. That is extremely important. The same goes for testing market response, websites that you test out, see whether the primary website or the alternative website, who get the best response, who buys more from the one website or the other one, and then constantly improve your web shop based on that information. Addressing the last item of the agenda, the how, the competencies, the skills, that is essential. Because if you don't know what you're doing, it's hard to work with areas like big data technologies and advanced analytics, and then also innovate your business. So it's important that you consider the areas you need to know about. And if you have been searching the internet around the topic like big data, you will have fallen over the term the data scientist. So the data scientist would be the wonder boy or the wonder girl in any organization. They would know about mathematics, they would know about modeling, and they would have machine learning, and they will understand the business. And tell you what, the most likely you don't have one in your organization, and you probably can't find one. But what you can do, and we have done that for years in the business intelligence space, we have created virtual teams, competency groups, and I would urge you to start having a look at your existing competency field and then see whether you need some more statistics, whether you need some more machine learning capabilities, or you just need some more business skills. That is essential to be successful. Most people I talk to about big data, they have already business intelligence in place. And the obvious travel you are in is actually to go from just understanding your business, having the insights in place, and then reimagining your business into an intelligent business where you have what we call the next level of business intelligence, where you're capable of rethinking your information and use it strategically in your everyday work. This has been a very brief talk about big data, just to give you an initial touch on the what and the why and the how. I know that if you're new to big data and new to working with the information, this has been a very brief talk. But for you business intelligence professionals out there, please be aware that big data, it plays a major challenge to your existing tool sets, but the greatest challenge is to your imagination and your competencies. Thank you.